Okay, I'm going to start off with the Papa Joe method, which is like the old windshield wipers on a car. You know, they cross this way. And with the stiff wrist, it kind of gives you the feeling of doing the dance, the funky chicken. So I'm going to do the 4 bars at a time of just a Papa Show. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, bang. I'm going to use this as the basis of what's going to happen with the brush pattern. Now the very first pattern out of the Philly Joe brush book is called a conventional stroke. And with the conventional stroke, it's a left-handed movement. So you've got this feeling here of like your left hand being at 10 o'clock and your right hand at 5 o'clock. That's the first beat. The second beat, your left hand just kind of pivots and your right hand comes up to 1 o'clock and you come down pretty much at the same time. But if you think in terms of a baseball player taking a few steps off of first base and the ball is being thrown back, he has to get back and slide into place, and that's where the left hand comes back at 10 o'clock before the right hand gets down here. So here's your pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's a conventional stroke by Philly Joe. And you mix the two together with Papa Joe and Philly Joe, and you get this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4. Now the Philly Joe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4. 2. Back to Papa Joe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that's the mixture between Papa Joe and Philly Joe's conventional. Now the second stroke by Philly Joe is called the smooth one. And with the smooth one, you're digging something with your right hand. Every revolution that you make is one beat. However, in the left hand, you're going from one side of the drum to the other, between 10 and 2. So here's your motion. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now to combine that with the Papa Joe, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2. Now the smooth one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2. Back to Papa Joe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, bang. The following stroke is the one that Philly calls the palm up. And with the palm up, what you're doing is snapping on 1 and 3, and you immediately turn over the brush, and you're leaning toward your left shoulder. Come all the way across the left shoulder, and act as though there's like a little Piper Cub plane that's going to land, and you slide down. So it's 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1. And so you kind of get that fan effect. Papa Joe to the palm up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. Back. That's the palm up. The next one is called the trill, and it's a nerve type of thing. Doing a second and third finger, you're just moving the brush back and forth. Your right hand will continue the regular time. 1, 2, 4. That's the motion. Papa Joe and then the trill. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4. Papa Joe. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Bang. The next stroke, he calls this the tense one, and this is used for tempos that are very fast. So instead of having your right hand get real tired of that sound, divide it between both hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3. And that's your movement for the tense one. It's just simple 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1. That's a tense one, fast tempos. The next one is nothing more than a tension getter. It's called tipping. And you're making a stroke like the very first pattern of Taylor Joe's conventional stroke. So what you're doing is that you're playing a triplet feel with the right hand, which is actually, this is good for playing like slow blues. And the actual motion is going to be 1. So you can find yourself playing in a group setting. 1, 2, 3. Bo ba bo nice, slow, nasty, greasy blues. You can use that stroke. The next stroke is called the cup. And it's exactly like the fast one, the tense one, except your right hand is making a circular motion. The left hand is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. Papa Joe into the cup. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. The cup. The next stroke is called a half and half. It's almost like the Papa Joe stroke, whereas you're making this movement here, only you keep the brush on the drum head. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4. The half and half. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. Bear in mind, strokes such as this are not to be used all the way through a tune. It's a little diversification from your basic pattern. The next stroke is called eyes. And the eyes are just the opposite of what I use for a ballad. My way of doing things is 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, and you're pushing to 12 for the ballads. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's just the way that I do it. Eyes are just the opposite. You're coming down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you have one where you're playing the shuffle. It's called shuffling it. And you're just playing the shuffle with your right hand. Tempo is like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. And most of you play some kind of a shuffle blues, but you play it with your sticks. This is playing it with a brush, so you're getting the same effect, but a whole lot quieter. 2, 3, 4, or 1. The next stroke is a thing that's called sweeping it, and it's like if you had a broom and you swept something over in a corner. Your left hand is going to do the same pattern as a traditional stroke. Instead of use 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The only difference here is with your right hand. Every other beat, your right hand is going to start here at the top, and all you're going to do is lift it off the drum head. And with the left hand, giving that sweeping effect, or the sound of like an ice skater stopping, from people out in the front, it looks like you're ripping paper, but the movement, they're hearing the sound, but all they're going to see is the movement of the drum brush. So you kind of get this effect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 1. You know that I'm always going back to Papa Joe. It's just a home base. 4, 2, 3, 4. And the very last pattern is what they call the fancy fancy, and that's just another movement for the tense one. And with the fancy fancy, you're just getting fancy movements with the left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Tempos for this fancy fancies. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. And those are the basic 12 patterns coming out of the Philly Joe brush book.